Hey guys, welcome to Hidden Shadows of the Secret Chamber movie review podcast. My name is Alex, that guy is Junior, and that guy over there is Nikansi. And today we will be reviewing the beautiful Disney Plus series called The Mandalorian.
I'm
So,
just gonna I'm just gonna talk to you about Pokemon then while he's up.
yeah. So, what is your take on Pokemon? Because last episode,
There was like some sort of imposter shadow talking about Pokemon, acting like me
yeah,
for the
and you were just not that
non-gamers.
happy with it.
uh,
So, what's the verdict?
I'm still not happy. I'm not upset anymore. That's the difference, though. You know,
Did they win you over?
that's the difference. No, it's not that they won me over. It's like there are still problems with the game that need to be addressed that literally can only be addressed by them actually talking about things that the fan base in this case kind of deservedly needs to know. So like in retrospect, people being upset about the national decks is both warranted but also non-realistic. For those not for those non-gamers, the National Pokédex is the legitimate like encyclopedia, which is what Pokédex is based off of as a word, like for the entirety of all Pokemon in existence. And so this has like when you think about Pokemon, uh and technically Nikansi is like honestly just a Gen 1er. No offense to Gen 1ers.
I'm a Gen 1er.
No offense to Gen 1ers. But like you only know those 150 Pokemon,
I don't even know all of them either.
right? You don't even know all of them. But and this is the thing that I've been arguing about in pretty much the worst kind of circle jerks right now is like the game has been gotta catch 'em all since Gen 1. So that alone is a huge tell to the legacy of Pokemon and the idea that you like want to catch all the Pokemon, you want to see all the Pokemon, right? So then, legitimately from Generation 1, which was red, blue, yellow, to Generation 2, which is gold, silver, and crystal, you were given the opportunity using devices or the Nintendo 64 and Pokemon Stadium to transfer Pokemon from that first game to the next game. And that is legitimately ingrained into the identity of Pokemon as a franchise. And this is like a more like as far as the nuanced argument goes, like a lot of people out there who are fans of Pokemon are approaching your 30s and your mid 30s. Like some people are arguing that like it's a kids game, get over it, and that's not the correct answer to the problem either, because that's not how hobbies go at all, literally. Like can you imagine people who are like, yeah, so the Patriots cheated again, get over it, the Patriots won. Like for those football fans out there, like that's not how you address the controversy of supposedly he was cheating, right? And so again, coming back to Pokemon, like it's ingrained in the franchise to be able to transfer your Pokemon from generation to generation to generation. And so getting rid of the national dex is incredibly alarming for the franchise, but more so is that they have a really, really just bad claim that they didn't have the resources to work on the game and to make the game include these older Pokemon and have newer skeletons and stuff. And again, that gets into an even more deeper, nuanced argument about. And again, I'm not actually a coder or game designer or programmer, but that nuanced conversation is like, didn't they just rip the skeletons from X and Y, the first 3DS game, into Pokemon Let's Go or into Pokemon Sword and Shield. And as far as the community at large has checked data, which itself is a like questionable breach of the product coding and whatnot, but it's kind of accepted nowadays anyways to look that deep into games coding. Like the skeletons look exactly the same. And at the same time, the animations, as far as I've been playing, are improved, but not to the expected degree of this is going to be the landmark Switch Pokemon game, right? So all in all, I don't know how much of this Alex is going to cut out, but like there's a lot of things surrounding Pokemon Sword and Shield that are going to fight against it and give it a really bad image for a long time right now. But at the same time, I'm enjoying the game. I'm just not happy about all the things that I can see, all the criticisms as I'm playing through it.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for the recommendation and for kind of clarifying up from the whatever that imposter shadow said.
Yeah, exactly. It is. I'm just clarifying once again for the pod listeners who think that that was me last time. That was definitely an irrational imposter who was very, very upset about Pokemon screwing over their fan base, whereas I, Con Van Trong Jr. over at twitch.tv/Ninja am a more reasonable but still slightly upset fan. And so again, right now I haven't beaten Pokemon Sword Shield. I have Pokemon Shield, but like the game, I can't be super happy about what I'm playing through, but I'm not enjoying it. And ultimately, this is going to be Final Fantasy 13 of Pokemon, where it's not a bad game. It's just surrounded by lots of good reasons for why it's not a good game.
It looks enjoyable, to be honest. When I saw you playing it, it looks very enjoyable, and I think I would have fun with it. So,
yes, because you also have like not played nearly every single generation.
I haven't. I stopped at the pretty
Pokemon
far.
Yellow.
And
Please.
My last one was Pokemon
yeah,
Yellow.
Nikonsi's last one was my copy of Pokemon Yellow after I'd beaten the game.
I
And
think
still
mine
all
was
of his
Diamond
Pokemon.
and Pearl. But, other than the remake of Soul Silver, which was so much fun. But yeah, I wanted to just move on to other RPGs, and then also I stopped having time for
let me channel
for
that
games.
imposter real quick. You fucking non-gamer.
Definitely. I'm definitely not on the level of I'm more of a casual.
Filthy casual.
I think I'm a notch above casual gamer because I do love video games, and when I get into a good video game,
Filthy casual. Don't
I
listen to
go
them.
Who let Imposter Shadow in here?
Randy Savage, Macho Man.
Now, that's it. So Imposter Shadow was actually Randy Savage, Macho Man. Yeah. Well, let's jump into the Mandalorian, y'all.
All right.
Give me your
Let's do
thoughts.
it.
Give me your feelings on it.
Well,
Let's
first of
start.
all,
Yeah.
Disney Plus is kind of fantastic. I
I love
going
it.
through all this stuff, and I found like all the old Marvel stuff that I want to rewatch,
Yes.
and also Star Wars. You can watch it in continuity now. which
That's
is
the dream.
Fantastic, which is
Yeah.
like amazingly fantastic.
I have a coworker who's going to be starting Star Wars from episode 1. And she's going to be very surprised when she gets to episode 4 when it's a movie from the late
old.
60s. But
And is generally considered the best series of the current.
Oh, she's starting with
Yeah.
1.
she's going in that order.
I don't know about that. I would stop her.
Nah.
I am also a.
That's gross.
I have definitely ranted to you about this before. But before I get into that,
When
I just wanted to
people
say that Disney Plus is getting a weird amount of flack from people on Facebook who are too lazy to actually go through the features. Like a lot of the things that you're looking for, you can just search on there. Like it has so many sitcoms and Disney movies. Like
What? It's
on
not
there.
exactly like Netflix.
Like
I have to
you
learn.
you have to relearn a little bit, but like no, I'm not throwing super shade at them, but I'm throwing like 1D4 of shade.
No, you throw that D8. You throw that D8 shade.
No, that's too RNG heavy. If I'm gonna go that big, it's 2D4, so that my average goes up.
All right. I see you.
I just hope that it doesn't leave a bad taste in her mouth.
You know what, dude? I like that experiment of just starting someone who has never experienced Star Wars, experiencing it from the chronological order.
Because I've had some people do that and they stop watching after episode 1. But we'll
Again,
see.
it's an experiment. I'm not going to say a word, and I'm just going to wait till they talk to me at work about it.
She should watch Clone Wars after episode 2.
It's
like, I know it's like 7 seasons, but
no big deal.
Yeah, if you want to just watch the films, I am a very, very proponent of skipping 1, because while 1 does give you a lot of lore into Star Wars in general, you get just as much on a different level of lore from literally just watching episode 2. And so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I'm going to be honest.
Still a good series.
I like 1. I'm going to be honest. But
fine.
I mean, I would fast forward it, but I really like Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and their whole beginning sequence is fantastic.
And
as
Liam
well
Neeson.
as well as them fighting Darth Maul. All that is fantastic. Even finding Anakin with Natalie Portman and doing a little pod racing, I still had fun. I just remember watching it when I was little.
I love that game, by the way, the N64 pod racing game.
Same.
So much fun.
Same. I'm playing it right now.
That's great.
Yeah.
But The Mandalorian is another like in between series. It takes place after episode 6 and before The Force Awakens.
From what I was reading, it's we're supposedly getting 10 to 12 episodes for the season, and this is going to end up stretching across the end of episode 6 to like episode 9.
Oh, that'll be cool. Yeah, because it's going to tell us.
This is a very big side story that is important to Star Wars lore, really.
And how the First Order kind of came about, and how the rebels fucked it up again. How you going to overthrow the Empire, and then in episode 7, oh, we're under another huge empire, but they just don't go by empire because we're woke and we don't believe in such labels. Yeah.
Yeah, that worked, guys.
Yeah. It's cool. What'd you guys think about episode 1? We get introduced to our
Star
hero.
Wars episode 1 was completely just
Can we talk about how
Silly goose.
the Mandalorian is? I feel like I'm watching a Clint Eastwood Western film.
in Star
Yeah.
Wars. It is incredibly well shot, and again gives us another look at the other stories that are built into Star Wars outside of the films. Unfortunately, the expanded canon is no longer the actual canon and that they wanted to talk about, which is really unfortunate because there is so much literature there giving us way more ideas and insight into the world that George Lucas wanted to bring forward, as well as the rest of his writing team that ended up becoming authors in their own right. What I was leading into with that is The Mandalorian is a lot like Rogue One and a lot like Han Solo in terms of it takes us a step away from the actual Star Wars like Skywalker conflicts and lets us dig into these are like somewhat everyday lives in Star Wars.
I think it's cool. I think it's a cool like other perspective, and I love the character so far. Very mysterious, very lone wolfish, and efficient. Cool martial arts too.
One criticism that I want to bring up and going forward is going to be interesting. Is that this is kind of a vein of both voice acting and regular acting, like in the sense that Jango is not. Wait, have we confirmed that it's Jango Fett?
What are we talking about?
The Mandalorian himself.
No.
It hasn't been confirmed that he's Jango Fett, but it's like the armor.
It's played by Pedro Pascal, which is badass. Got a Latino.
Also, yeah, that is badass.
Yeah.
What I was
Doing
saying,
the lead.
what I was getting into, which I don't know how much you'll edit out, is I'm using a lot of us tonight. I'm not feeling good, by the way. I'm also sick. We're all getting sick.
I always use us.
What I'm getting to, good cut, is that the level of acting is going to be really, really weird because our main character is always wearing his helmet. So you have to interpret a lot of body language and literally just listen to basically quips in terms of like length of voice acting.
Yeah.
That was it. There was a lag spot there that Alex was just staring off into space.
No, I think you're right. I think it's really interesting. I think he's doing great though. I think especially in episode 2 where he really starts like kind of interacting with other people. And the end of episode 1, which was epic. I think he has a lot of character. He's a little funny too. There's a little humor at the end of episode 1, which I enjoyed very much. And again, like the action is great. The fight choreography when he gets in the fight at the beginning with the bar scene was
fun.
It was cool.
I still can't believe the production value for this TV show.
I'm saying,
I feel like I'm watching a movie.
Yeah, it's really good. In fact, like it's as good as The Force Awakens, because it has that 80s look of cinematography. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I found out that they use a lot of animatronics. So they did animatronics, practical effects mixed with CG effects.
Yeah, it's not super CGI, right? It doesn't have that finish that all movies have now, and it has kind of like that finish that movies in the 80s had. So
it's really tantamount to the flavor of Star Wars. A lot of Star Wars requires practical effects in terms of the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. And going forward, they do have to find like where in their budget they want to give practical effects the requirement that it needs to have that feel.
It's almost tradition.
Being CGI heavy. Which is funny that you mentioned tradition on a podcast where we opened up with me ranting about Pokemon.
That's tradition. So are you guys ready to like jump all over the place because there's 2 more TV series coming out?
Let's we can wrap up. I mean, do you guys have any like much more you want to say? We're 2 episodes in. All I can say is that I want más.
I want más, but I do want to talk about these new series coming out just to get your thoughts on it.
Okay.
So the next series coming out is Cassian Andor from Rogue One.
Was that the girl?
No, it's the guy.
The pilot?
Yeah.
The guy who played Bayonetta,
Yep.
right?
Yep. So
Hey.
he's getting his own series.
That's badass.
That's a prequel to Rogue One.
Is it going to be the same actor?
Yeah, same actor.
That's exciting. Fuck yeah.
And
Viva
then,
Mexico! Oh, uh-huh.
and then Obi-Wan Kenobi is getting his own series, which is a prequel to the episode 1, 2, and 3.
So we're gonna be dealing with
So,
young teenage to young adult.
Well, we're going to be jumping all over the place.
'Tis tradition in Star Wars lore. Heaven forbid they push the story forward. But I have to accept it. I just have to accept that Star Wars, the way they release their shit is they make huge monumental movies and they leave cool little gaps in between so that they can make 7-season long series.
If it makes you feel better, that's how the books are.
Jesus Christ. They're worse than Naruto.
Are they though? Because then we get into the question of Boruto doing time travel and time travel hijinks.
Damn. And like, they're not always canon, huh? Or are they? Because I haven't watched any of it.
They are.
See, at least they're canon.
Yeah.
But
That's...
but also that from what I read, and I'll have to find a better source to go looking back at it because it's closed and in a billion tabs of history.
Look back at it, girl.
Look back at it. Look back.
Is
at
that
it. Look back at it.
Boruto
Look back
anime
at it.
and
Look back at
Boruto manga are going to be telling different stories going forth that are both considered canon?
No, they're not different stories, and they are canon. The manga takes place in the future of the anime. The anime goes back in time to tell the story of Boruto from when he's much younger.
Naruto, the Star Wars of Japan.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Yeah,
The stories are...
there was like 2 Shinobi Wars taking place within Naruto's lifetime, and a third one, and a fourth one coming in, and time travel, and the Skywalkers. And Alex isn't stopping me. Somebody has to
But
stop.
Alex, now is the time. You need to watch Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I know it's 7 seasons long.
It's honestly just good.
They have some amazing stories.
Oh, yeah, I got pretty far.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, and I was watching... I got to half of season 2 in
Rebels.
Rebels.
Yeah, they just have some really cool stories. It's like way more Star Wars than the movies.
I was interested in Rebels because I like the main character.
Yeah.
I think his name is Ezra. He's kind of like a cool, like innovative Jedi. Like when he constructed his saber, he made it a blaster too. So I thought that was really super dope. So it's they got some great stories, and that's one of those things where if you're gonna watch it, you kind of gotta go in accepting that they're gonna be doing a lot of time skipping and filling in the blanks, and it's okay. They're still pretty dope stories, and just take them for what they are.
Yeah, you don't have to watch it in chronological order. That's the nice thing.
One thing that I wanted to bring up as we are potentially closing the episode is, what is the race of Yoda? Because in the films they don't mention it, therefore it is hard for a lot of people right now, and a lot of people are getting quite a bit of flack for just referring to the baby as Baby Yoda, even though it's a 50-year-old species baby, and it's not actually Yoda.
Dude, you know what's so funny? I'm looking at a fan page about that as we speak, and it says that George Lucas chose to keep the name and background of Yoda's species a mystery. So who knows if
I haven't read enough of the actual Star Wars like books to.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't. It's never been officially named.
So therefore, people who are flaming people for calling it Baby Yoda is like it's literally never been said then, right?
They're only getting flamed for it though because it's confusing other people.
well, I apologize for posting that on our story.
It's totally okay. People are getting confused thinking it is Baby Yoda, and then they're getting lost on where this TV series takes place.
So there was Yoda and there was Yaddle, and Yaddle was also a force-sensitive female being that was the same species as Yoda.
And apparently they live forever.
Yeah,
almost
apparently
forever, because that's a baby and it's 50 years old and it still doesn't speak common, and it definitely still uses force powers. Spoiler. Not really a spoiler.
What's the force?
You look at that being and you know it's force sensitive. That's kind of it. Like
I mean, they state they're crazy strong species. That's about all we know. I know there's a few YouTube videos that I have sitting in my watch later list that gives a breakdown on them, but for the most part, George Lucas hasn't. You know, he's still kind of keeping that one up his sleeve. Who knows if this is going to be the series where they go into more details about it, which would be great. That'd be super exciting.
it would, but also I want to give respect to the writers of what is now considered expanded universe like content. That's a lot of time they've put into telling stories that are a part of George Lucas's mindscape, and it's really strange for Disney to just be like, yeah, no, that we're gonna build our own stories now. None of that's real. It's very strange. Very strange time to live in.
Wow, who is he? Akira Toriyama? Like, what is happening with these parallels?
Okay, but
except that's Dragon Ball Z.
Was Dragon Ball GT really that good? Like, come on, guys, let's be realistic.
Wait a minute, I thought you were advocating for it not too long ago. I have audio evidence
Of me advocating for GT being canon?
Oh, not canon, but
yeah, I'm like
saying, hey, when I said it's, you know what? It's neither here nor there. GT wasn't that great. No, don't laugh at me for being the bigger person.
It wasn't that great. But people arguing about canon, then it gets into weird things. And the only time I can remember talking about GT was talking to you about Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
I definitely like Super better. Super's fun.
Super is so much fun, and
Yeah.
they're really fleshing out the characters.
That's what I like, and the fact that they're fleshing out future Trunks, or that they did in that Osamu arc, was great. That arc was just fantastic.
Literally, the only thing I can remember talking about Super and GT was that like GT is an alternate universe that is non-canon, but Super talks about like the multiverse of.
I know.
So it's like, where is that one? Where
You know, if they that's such a good point. If they were gonna do like a side series with the Goku from Dragon Ball Heroes, where he's like a galactic patrol like officer or whatever he was, I would want to see that series, like the smart and serious Goku. That would be dope. Do you guys know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I want them to make Goku a little smarter.
I do too. Like,
I think
I love. Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead and finish your point.
I think he deserves to be smart now.
Yeah.
Because
You
he
can-
fights so much.
You can
And he
be
is really
aloof.
smart.
Yeah, you can be aloof without being smart. I mean,
He's like-
while being smart is what I was trying to say.
He's like what Ash Ketchum would be if Ash Ketchum like grew. Like if he didn't have the weird
Maybe-
disease that.
Maybe that's another reason that Sword and Shield is being so vehemently canned right now by the fan base is that Pokemon Sun and Moon anime series where Ash has now actually become Pokemon champion is really strange because he's never aged throughout all of the years of Pokemon. And
In all my
now-
years, I finally.
yeah, and it's like, and now the national dex isn't even real for Pokemon, so we don't have a good way to go off of Pokemon canon. But the Pokemon manga has several different, like canons going on. Who knows? Pokelore is hard to track down, just like a lot of lore.
There are some pretty sweet Pokemon mangas out there. In particular, I would say my favorite is Diamond and Pearl. I don't know if you guys get an opportunity to read it, please do. It's super fun and
is
super dope.
Really,
Really?
good for sure. The Diamond and Pearl manga, in my opinion, beat the shit out of the Diamond and Pearl games because I have a personal vendetta for many reasons against Gen 4. Which is a completely different tangent involving Pokemon that we can talk about some other time on
He's
some
got a
other
lot of
podcast
vendettas.
episode.
Nakansi, yeah, you would
He's
enjoy
like-
Diamond
he's
and
like-
Pearl.
The Punisher of Pokemon.
He is.
No,
And that's
I
okay.
don't want to
He's
be
gutting
known. I
for
don't
him.
want to be known on the podcast as the Pokemon Punisher. That's
It'll be like a.
wouldn't
a
even no. You wouldn't
It'll
even
be
say
like a
Pokemon
skull on his
Punisher.
chest of like a dead Pikachu.
No,
Someone, yeah,
Am I
someone
the-
please make that T-shirt.
No, somebody's gonna
Yeah.
somebody's gonna listen to our podcast and think that I'm a jackass, and then also have that idea that now has been implanted into their brains, and they're gonna do fan art of me being the Poke Punisher.
Oh, I like it. The Poke Punisher. That's pretty good.
I'm still looking for the negative.
He's-
Like
I have found no negative. It's the Poke Punisher. Da, 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 da. It has to be like metal rock music.
well, actually, I
Can
don't
we
want
at least
people
get
thinking
Baby
that.
Metal to do that. Then, if it's gonna be like metal music for my theme song, I want Baby Metal and like
okay, we could do baby metal.
yeah.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that. Well, cool guys. Any other tangents?
Yeah,
or...
I got a recommendation actually. I got a fucking recommendation.
He got
All right.
motherfucker.
Imposter Shadow did not actually do an impression.
That
of,
wasn't that was
Nikansi.
that was
That was
not
actually
an
Nikansi.
imposter. That was me. That was me pretending to be me. I know. It's super meta. I know.
It
guys.
was you pretending to be me, pretending to be you. That's
That's
pretty sweet.
That's meta. So we got this fantastic new film coming out next week called Queen and Slim, and it is basically a modern story retelling of the Bonnie and Clyde story.
Fun.
Where these two African Americans get pulled over by some cop, and they're just trying to hang out and be on a date. Cop ends up being really rough, and then they have to protect themselves, and they accidentally shoot the cop and kill the cop.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but the film looks so amazing with its production value and cinematography, and I just started listening to the soundtrack. Oh, I can't even stop. I can't stop listening to the soundtrack.
From
The
what I've
soundtrack
heard
is
of the
fire.
soundtrack that Nakansi has linked, it's really, really impressive, especially nowadays, how much of a story can be told through the soundtrack of a film. Because a lot of more people are becoming aware of like what happens when a film doesn't have the right soundtrack, you know what I mean?
Do you want to know what I actually want to touch on? Since you brought that up.
No, not at all. We're running this episode. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
The Mandalorian has a fantastic soundtrack. It's such a good mix of like something that like Daft Punk did in Tron, but mixed in with like a tribal feel. I love it. I feel like it really sets the ambiance for this show, and it makes it that much higher quality for it.
Also, as a sidebar, if anybody out there who disagrees with us, we are just dudes. We don't actually have any sort of degrees on these things. So I mean, like,
I have a degree.
But also,
I got a PhD.
Oh, he got a PhD.
Yeah,
but
if you disagree with us,
dick.
if you disagree with us, it's like LeBron James, like shouting to the rooftops that he beat a 6-year-old in basketball. It just,
you're not wrong, but like,
why?
Like you could help us.
You know why?
Get better.
You could, and I think LeBron James would do that.
You know why?
And then pulling it all the way back to what Alex was talking about, the tribal aspect of the soundtrack that you're feeling is definitely intentional because, again, Star Wars lore is all over the place, but the Mandalorians are a warrior tribe.
Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
Like, they are definitely a warrior race tribe.
Are you feeling it now?
Are they Saiyans?
Basically.
Damn, it's all connected.
They're like
the Cosmere, Brandon Sanderson.
They're like Send It Saiyans.
One day, Professor Sanderson, you're going to hear this podcast and you'll be like, who the fuck are these guys?
What are they talking about? But thanks for reading my books.
We're only like your best friends. Your number one supporters.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to our show. This is Hidden Shadows of the Secret Chamber movie review podcast. Make sure you guys go and follow us on Instagram at HSTSC33. Also on Twitter, the same handle. You can find us on Facebook, Hidden Shadows of the Secret Chamber. And make sure you go listen to our other show, Sidetracked Podcast, where every week we will release an episode in English. And then the following week, we'll just throw you for a loop and release one in Spanioli. That's Spanish for Spanish. That's not true. Also, go follow our dear friend, June Bug, aka Khan, at twitch.tv/Cooking Ninja Carve, where you can watch him play and totally and begrudgingly enjoy Pokemon Sword and Shield and other fantastic video games. Other than that, good night.